The new form of Vanquisher has come, and the return of chaos and destruction has begun. So let's begin. But first, cards from the last few days. Our first card is a Narukami rare, Eradicator Spark Raised Dragon. Grade 2, 9k power, and its skill is Auto Vanguard when placed. This unit gets plus 5k power until the end of turn, and then look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal one card with Eradicator in its card name, and put it to your hand. And if a card was put to your hand, discard a card. Disappointed in the fact that it has to be only Vanguard. But the second skill is also very helpful, especially for Descendant. Auto Vanguard Rearguard. When this card hits a Vanguard, cost Soul Blast 1, draw a card. So if for some reason you have to ride Descendant on top of this, Descendant already has a attack miss skill, so if you add in an attack hit skill, your opponent will have to make the choice between you gain a free +1 or additional attack. So this is an okay card for Eradicators. Next, a Genesis common, which I think is pretty good. White Phosphorus Sorcerer Revoluta. Grade 2, 10k power, and skill is Auto Rearguard when placed. Cost Counterblast 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put one of them to your hand, and the rest is Soul. So for one Counterblast, you can get 1 card to your hand and 2 Soul. Sure, it's Rearguard only and on place, but this is a very good budget option. And now for the Tuesday stream stuff. First off, a bunch of promos. Our first one is Shake Patch Angel. Grade 2, 9k power, and its skill is Count Vanguard Rearguard. During your turn, this unit gets plus 3k power for every card in your damage zone. So meaning the more damage you have, the more power you're going to be gaining. That's nice. Second skill, Auto when rode upon, cost put this card from your damage zone face down, and then call a card from your damage zone to rearguard. In which you could just literally just call this, because you're putting it face down and you want that counterblast. Okay. Next is the Spike Brother Gun Burst Linebacker. Grade 2, 10k power, and its skill is Auto Rearguard. When this card attacks, costs Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. This unit gets plus 5k power until the end of the battle for every force marker on your circles. Yeah, play this with Rising, gets plus 10k because Rising gives you 2 markers instantly. Second skill, Count Rearguard. If you have a grade 3 in the same column as this unit, this card can attack and intercept from the back row. This card is literally made for Rising, isn't it? Rising needs your grade 3s to take their skills, so they're obviously going to be in the front row, so this being able to attack in the back row is definitely really helpful. And finally, a Bermuda Cuddle Connect Vanessa. Grade 1, 8k power, and skill is Auto Rearguard. At the end of the battle that this card attacked or boosted, cost put a grade 3 or greater card from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck, put this to Soul and draw a card. Gives you Soul, which is nice. Of course, it gives you a draw along with it. But the recycling part makes me feel like Bermuda is gonna get some pseudo stride mechanic too. And this skill is free. Okay then. And then even more promos. Our first card is a Narukami Dragon Dancer Barca. Grade 2, 9k power, and skill is Auto Rearguard. At the end of the battle, this card attacks if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, costs Soul Blast 1, bind a card from your hand, draw a card. Your opponent chooses one of his back row rearguards and move it to the front row. The bind a card from your hand at the end of the battle is really good because cards like Chatara exist where when it's bound you can call it, so that enables multi-attack. But the new Vanquisher also has a bind ability too, so I mean this card is going to be really relevant. And the next one is the Gold Paladin, Fierce Fighting Knight Florus. Grade 1, 8k power, and its skill is Auto Rearguard. When this card attacks or boosted, cost Soul Blast 1, perform all the effects below depending on the number of rearguards you call during the turn. 2 or more plus 5k power until the end of the battle. 4 or more until the end of the battle, your opponents must intercept as much as possible. This card is okay, better than some of the Gold Paladin cards that has the number of call abilities. And finally, Black Matching Salafio. Grade 2, 9k power, and its skill is Count Rearguard. During your turn, if a new card was placed into your damage zone, this card gets plus 10k power. Easy to do with rescue decks and Makoth Melik. Second skill, Auto Vanguard Rearguard. When placed, cost Soul Blast 1, heal 1 point, and deal 1 damage to your Vanguard. The ability of this card scheme can only be used once per turn. Yeah, a nice damage check for a second skill that helps the first skill. Which of course reminds me of a bunch of cards that give your Vanguard extra drive checks. Before we go to the main event, we got 2 new products revealed, Special Series 9 and 10, Clan Selection Plus Volume 1 and 2, which contains 1 ASR, 12 SPs, and 84 triple rares. No doubles, no single, and no commons. So meaning a fully fold set, and it's also a reprint set with some new cards, with Volume 1 being released on January 29, with the clans of Angel Feather, Shadow Paladin, Gold Paladin, Tachikaze, Murakumo, Narukami, Link Joker, Dark Irregular, Gear Chronicle, Grand Blue, Mega Colony, and Neo Nectars. with the cover cards being Chaos Breaker Dragon, yeah! And Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion the Blood, yeah! And a completely new ghosty unit called Beatrice. And then Volume 2 will include Royal Paladin, OTT, Genesis, Kagero, Nobutama, Nova Grappler, No Dimensional Police, Spike Brothers, Pale Moon, Bermuda Triangle, Aqua Force, and Grey Natures. With the cover cards being Jewel Knight, Ashley, yay, the waifu Royal Paladins. Dauntless Drive, I hope this is a budget option for Kagero because they need one. And a new Akatsuki Hanzo. Yay, more Shinamon arc support. And Mark being the rival to Shinamon, he needs to have his own Evolve Akatsuki Hanzo as well. So very exciting, and I hope they make a new God Hand Dragon, Amnesty Messiah, even though it's unlikely, and I hope Chaos Breaker Dragon plays by Scourge War Dragon's lock playstyle, and not the old style of direct locking. And finally, for the main Narukami reveals, our first card is Chain Bolt Dragoon. Grade 1 AK power and skill is Auto Vanguard. When placed, look at top 7 cards for your deck, reveal 1 card with Vanquisher in card's name, and put it to your hand, and then of course you shuffle your deck. Well, you got 2 different targets, so that's fine, but it's too bad it's Vanguard only. Second skill, Auto, when bound from hand during your turn, you may call this card to rearguard. Yeah, run this at 4. The second skill combos well with the mid-battle bind skills. Next, Rock Climb Dragoon. Grade 2, 9k power and skills Auto Rearguard. At the end of the battle, this card attacks. If your Vanguard is Dragonic Vanquisher, cost, retire this unit, draw a card, and then cost, bind a card from your hand, and choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards and bind it. Basically, the idea is that you're going to clear your field and then do the extra bind, so you're going to be triggering some skills to do some extra calls. Or in this case, Dragonic Vanquisher FULLBRONTO. Grade 3, Excel, 12k power, and its skills. Count Vanguard. This unit is also treated as Dragonic Vanquisher. That's important for some of your cards, obviously. Second skill, Auto Vanguard. When placed, your whole front row gets plus 10k power until the end turn. That's just to combo with regular Vanquisher's mass power up if you bound 3 rearguards during the turn. But the third skill is where it's important. Auto, when bound from hand during your turn, costs. If your Vanguard is Dragonic Vanquisher, costs, discard a card from your hand, ride this card as stand, and drive -1 until the end of turn. And then during the end phase of the turn, you do not get an imaginary gift Excel, and ride a grade 3 from Soul as rest. The ability of this card's name can only be used once per turn. So basically the idea is, one of your rearguards will attack after your Vanquisher already attacked. Use one of their skills to self-bind one of your cards, aka mainly this one, and then Superior Ride this card for 1 more additional attack with a mass power-up. And in some cases, extra binding to Superior call some rearguards too. Gotta say, I'm glad this card doesn't replace regular Vanquisher just like what Soen did. Also glad that this is not made as a second ride, because that's what I was actually kind of worried about. And the amount of combo plays that you can do with this deck makes it very fun. So in my opinion, a nice addition as a 4-of. And finally next week, it's the obvious guardrail. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you guys think about the new Dragonic Vanquisher and the new booster set reveals? Honestly, I already told you about Vanquisher. I think it's a pretty fun deck. Although I was expecting some sort of card that will have abilities triggered depending on how many cards they have bound, like Thunderstrike. But for the boosters, I am very excited. Chaos Breaker returning, one of my favorite units. Vermilion the Blood, one of my favorite units as well, and I'm glad they didn't forget about it. And looking at the booster sets, they look like they're probably going to be the last 2 booster sets for the V era. But one thing I am kind of concerned about is where are we going to go and what they're going to do with Chaos Breaker, because I'm kind of worried about direct locking, which is why I kind of suggest the Scourge War Dragon play style. But other than that, have a nice day, or else chaos and destruction will fall before you.